Hello everybody, welcome to Sin City Living. My name is Jason. I'll be bringing you today's episode. As always, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. We have a ton of content coming out every single week, pretty much every day. We try and have at least one video come out every single day. And our usual appreciation to our patrons. All those tips and support are only going to go towards making the channel better, adding more games. So we very much appreciate those, and I hope you guys are enjoying the exclusive videos we're putting out for you guys every single week. Please email us on that site if you have anything in particular you would like us to demonstrate for you. And if you're curious about that, go ahead and check the description down below for ways to help us out there. If anybody has any strategies, systems, questions, anything they would like us to answer or shoot for them, please email us at sincitylivingLV@gmail.com. Doesn't have to be craps related. Could also be blackjack. We've got a blackjack table, or baccarat, pai gow, or just anything in general with casinos or Las Vegas. And if you're curious about ways to help us out, because we are definitely hoping to add more games to the channel. We want to add a bunch more things to the channel, but it's partially time, but mostly it's a money thing as far as how expensive it is to do these properly. If you'd like to help us out on it, check the description down below this video. Scroll down a little bit further. We've got some details of what we're hoping to be able to add and what it would take for us to be able to add it sooner. So any support would be greatly appreciated. If not, we're more than happy to continue as we're doing with just the craps and the blackjack. So for today's video, today we have a viewer question, viewer submitted question, and just asking us what we think about a particular strategy. So this strategy is based off of really, it's kind of blending three things in together. So let's talk about this a piece at a time. Let's start with the come out roll. So this strategy says a don't pass. Now, it doesn't put any particular amount to this, so obviously this is a scalable strategy. It's probably just, basic 1 unit or 2 units or table minimum. So it could be 10, 15, 25, 100, whatever you choose to play, and then just make all the units similar. So it starts with a don't pass. So right away, the analysis of the don't pass is all you have to do is get past the come out roll. Don't pass bets are fantastic bets if you can get past the come out roll. The interesting thing with don't pass bets is people want to play them on a cold table. You want to play the don't pass on a cold table because more sevens seem to be coming during that time period, right? Well, the downside of that is more sevens seem to be coming, and if they come during the come out roll, that's going to lose. The come out roll is the most dangerous spot for the don't pass. Once you get past that, the odds favor you. You have the advantage. Even on a 6 and 8, you have the advantage. So the don't pass, very standard bet, similar to the pass line. So you can't really say whether it's good or it's bad. It's just however you choose to play the pass line bet or don't pass. It could be a fantastic bet. It can also bite you in the butt. Same thing with the pass line. Could be a fantastic bet. Could also bite you in the butt. So the don't pass, just a standard entry-level bet between the pass or don't pass is how you're choosing it. It's kind of the equivalent of black or red on roulette. No right or wrong answer on that, just whatever you choose to play. So once the point has been established, let's go with the 5, okay? So the 5 has been established. Now this is where they kind of start to deviate a little bit, but it does sort of make sense. So they're playing on the don't pass, so they're betting that the dice are not going to favor the shooter. They're not going to favor making the point, which is true. The odds are against making the point, always. At no point are the odds in favor of making the point. So that is true. But they want to look at the two most common numbers to roll, which are the 6 and 8. The 6 has 5 ways to roll, and the 8 has 5 ways to roll. Out of 36 combinations of the dice, that means there are 10 ways out of 36, or 5 out of 18. That's pretty good. That's just a little bit under a third. A little bit under a third of the rolls should roll a 6 or an 8. The odds are pretty decent. So those can roll fairly often. So what they're looking at doing is doing a place bet on the 6 and 8. Okay, cool. Makes sense. These do have a tendency to roll fairly often, and I like these as an entry-level bet. If you're looking at trying to do a smaller bankroll, not as much money, just doing the 6 and 8 is a fantastic bet because you can use it to expand out across all of the numbers. Especially when you're already starting out at 2 units or more. And since it's almost impossible to find a $5 table, pretty much guaranteed to start out at least 12 bucks, if not 18 or even 30. So you have multiple units to work with. if I'm getting paid at least 2 units worth. So I could either place another point, or I could press it 1 unit, collect a little bit. Then the next time I could press it 1 unit and place another point, say a 9 or a 5 or 4 or 10. So this is a great entry level bet. The 6 and 8 are excellent bets, excellent place bets, and they're generally the first thing we recommend to people when they're trying to expand their knowledge of the game as they're learning the game. They just learned the pass line, then we start teaching them odds. And if they're new players and they're really cool, we're sitting there talking to them about the game, we start encouraging them to do 6 and 8s. The 6 and 8s are the best entry level place bets. So now that you've got your don't pass, a point established, and you've placed your 6 and 8, what's next? Well, the next thing that they are adding is they are adding a come bet. Now, the thing about this and what they are saying is with their come bet, they do 3 come bets. So they're doing a 3-point molly. They're doing a standard 3-point molly system where they have 3 come bets that travel to different numbers. Here's the only issue with it is no odds. They're saying no odds. Now, if you come into a 6 or an 8, you're going to get paid and you're going to come down. You're going to say no odds, so you'll be down with no odds. So you'll get paid for your place bet and then you'll come down. So you'll only have your come bet. If it goes to one of the other numbers, then it's just going to come into the box as a standard come bet. They're going to ask, would you like any odds? No, no odds. Okay, cool. Then you're going to place another come bet. Say that travels. Let's just say you happen to load the bases. Now you're going to stand fast. You're going to sit, you're going to wait, you're going to watch, you're going to hope a whole bunch of 6 and 8s roll, you're going to hope some of these other numbers roll. If one of your come bets comes down because you win, if you get paid, you're going to do another come bet. You're going to try and keep 3 come bets going at all times. That's the 3-point molly system. And okay, so let's analyze this. So what is it they're trying to do? Well, the first thing is, one of the more amusing things to dealers is to hear people that say that this is a hedge against the 7 coming out. That's just ridiculous. Yes, this wins if a 7 comes out, but come on. First off, why are you hedging against the 7 if you're playing the don't pass? You already get paid. Second off, if you really want to hedge the 7, you would just hop the 7s. It's going to pay you a whole lot better on a whole lot less money. Right? The whole point behind a come bet is you're starting a brand new game. This is not a hedge against the 7 any more than a pass line bet is a hedge against the 7 on a come out roll. Sure, you get paid on it, but that's not the point. That's not what you're trying to do, and it's not the best bet if you're trying to play the 7s. Okay? So their idea is that if a 7 rolls, you're going to get paid on both the don't pass and the come bet. As a hedge, if you think of it as a hedge against a 7, then you're just not thinking this through very well. It's not a very smart bet if you're trying to hedge something that then gets locked in if he doesn't win. Because if it doesn't win on the 7, now it's locked into a point. So if you're actually trying to bet in a way to hedge against a 7, why would you have a bet that then gets locked in and will lose against a 7, any other subsequent 7? So it's not a very good hedge against a 7. So that might be part of the thinking of it. Maybe, maybe not. It's a common part of the thinking for people that bet come bets. And if not, then it's just continuing on. All right, so let's say you're only 2 points into your 3-point molly system. You now have $44 at risk, but you're only going to win $10. The downside of this is that you're playing both sides. The 6 and 8 place with a don't pass, excellent bet. See it fairly often because, again, this is about a little under a third of the possible rolls. But when you start adding into the come bets, now you're adding into the other side of the game. It's like having a don't pass, but then turning around to another table and putting a pass line bet. Pick one side or the other. What are you trying to win on? Which side of the dice are you trying to win on? What are you trying to do? And then the biggest flaw of this system. The biggest flaw of this system is the lack of odds. If you have a don't pass, you should do a lay. Since it's 1, true odds, there's no house edge, and 2, once there's a point, the odds favor you. Why wouldn't you do a lay? The only thinking on why you may not do a lay is because a lay pays you less than your bet, so your pass line bet actually is better off for you once there's a point established. But you don't want to make your pass line bet too high because those 7 and 11s on the come out can really annihilate you. So a lay is the best way to go. And again, no house edge, so why wouldn't you do it? People look at the odds and call it free odds. Well, a lay is the same thing. It's a free lay. Now, if you decide you want to be a moving target and try and play both sides of the table somehow and do your come bets are absolutely pointless if you don't do odds. They make 0 sense if you don't do odds, except for the whole I'm hedging against the 7 mentality, which is a poor way of looking at it to begin with. If your come bet travels in, you want to do odds. Otherwise, betting a come bet is the least efficient way of making your bet. This $10 is going to pay you $10. It's an absolute waste of time, whereas instead of doing a come bet, you could have just waited, let the 9 roll, and said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and place the 9. If you want to let the dice make your decisions for you, that's fine, but place it. Instead of doing the come bet, who cares about the whole win on a 7? You're not trying for a 7. Even though you have a don't pass there, you have more money invested in the 6 and 8. So this player is not trying for a 7. They're not hoping for a 7. They're actually hoping for a good roll. So if you're hoping for a good roll, you're doing come bets, do your odds or place it so you get paid more money. All right, trying to hedge with that the whole come out roll and the win there on the 7-11 thing. That's fantastic. The odds are great with you, but you're trying to win money. We discussed this in a couple of other videos. So that is my analysis of this particular strategy. It's got 3 different things that it's trying to do all at the same time. 2 of them kind of work out well. The don't pass with the 6 and 8 place bet, common bet, very, very good, a very decent strategy. But once you add in the 3-point Molly system, especially with no odds on either the don't pass or the come bet, now the system becomes inefficient, and at its absolute best, it's an uber grind. But in reality, I've seen players play something very, very similar, and they lose, and they actually lose fairly quickly because of the come bet issue. So I hope you guys find this interesting, and thank you guys very much for watching. Bye now.